Hi, it's Debbie Williams here. I'm an NLP trainer and hypnotherapist and also an eating disorders specialist. And today I want to talk about how dieting can cause binge eating and how to stop. See, a lot of times when you go on a diet, there's this mentality of either good or bad. So if you're being good, you're following the diet to the letter. And then if you fall off track, it's almost like a switch is being pressed in the brain and you give yourself permission to eat all the things that you've denied yourself on a diet. So what happens is perhaps if you go to get weighed and you find that you've been so-called good all week and you get on the scales and you've lost half a pound and you think, crikey, or even you might even have gained it because during the month our weight does go up and down, or you might even have developed muscles because you've gone to the gym and as muscle weighs heavier than fat, but you don't recognize that. You just use the scales as a measure of success or failure. And so when the scales don't give you a result that you expected or felt that you deserved, then there's the drive on the way home of, well, I'll go via the chip shop or the sweet shop. After all, I've got 7 days to starve myself again. And the brain learns that the junky food is a source of pleasure and it starts to permeate every area of your life. So, if you're bored, your brain thinks, oh, let's have something naughty. If you feel at the end of the day somebody's upset you, it's like, oh, I need something to compensate for this. So the brain thinks, oh, we'll have a bit of a binge because that'll get rid of it. So the way to break this pattern is to have, instead of a narrow track to run on that you can fall off either being good or bad, is to have a track that's wide enough to stay on, where if you do a plan for yourself of all the foods that you really, really enjoy and plan meals in over this next week, plus, 3 or 4 snacks, plus getting your fruit and vegetables in, and allowing yourself to earn the right to have a bit of naughtiness, but to eat it consciously, to think, well, okay, it's 4 o'clock or it's 8 o'clock, that's the time for my bit of naughtiness. And so sit down and actually really make a ritual of it, that, yeah, I enjoy this Cadbury's cream egg, or I enjoy this bag of crisps, or whatever it is for you, so that you take little baby steps and recognize that the way to overcome an eating disorder is to master strategies of what naturally lean, healthy, happy people do. I had bulimia for about 15 years, and the last 5 of that was binge eating disorder, where I would just eat and eat and eat, and massive amounts of, 10 bars of chocolate and stuff like that. And so I realised it was just such torture, and I kept looking for, well, what is the answer to this? Diets don't have the answer. Psychology, psychiatrists and counsellors don't have the answer, because I went through all of that and it actually made me worse. And I thought, well, who's got this down? And I thought, well, naturally lean, healthy, happy people have. And what do they do? And how can I model what they do? And so through that I've learnt and developed lots of sort of hypnotherapy and NLP skills to master those strategies. And when I've run my Lean for Life courses, I've set as a goal for people on that course to look at what naturally lean, healthy, happy people do. And people come back the following week, and one lady said, oh, I sat opposite in a restaurant, one of the ladies at work, and he said, I noticed that she would be eating a mouthful and just and she'd be almost absorbed in the taste of that food. Then she'd put a knife and fork down and she'd get involved in a chat. Then it's like she'd sort of suddenly think, oh, I'm going to have a bit more of this. So she'd eat a little bit more, and she would eat quite slowly and have spaces in between eating, because really what she was doing, she was enjoying the whole experience. It wasn't all about the food, it was about the company, it was about the connection. And she said then it got to a point where she said she put a knife and fork down and just moved the plate away. And this lady said, because I was copying her and doing exactly what she did, she says, it took so long to eat the food. She says, I actually left about a third of my food because I could start to feel, actually, I feel okay, I feel full. and see, the more you look around and see those naturally lean, healthy, happy people, and I say that because there's people out there who seem to eat whatever they want and they have a very high metabolism, and that's just a small percentage of the population. It's looking at ones who've got it down, who haven't got the addiction to food, who allow themselves to have sort of junk, but they also want to be healthy. So this is why, going back to the beginning of saying, doing a plan for yourself, of finding a list of all the foods that you really, really enjoy, that are healthy and are good for you, that are perhaps nutrients dense yet calorie poor and less processed and more close to nature. It will feed your cells, which will also help stop sort of cravings. And to recognise that the cravings, they, like any addiction, they come and they're very intense for a short period of time. But if you were to add that up over the day, they don't last that long. And what's perhaps happened in the past is you've given in to them. And I gave some advice today to somebody on a Facebook group of saying, well, what if for the next couple of days you planned a nice plan for yourself of healthy foods and plus a bit of naughtiness, and whenever you felt an urge to binge, you put on my 10-minute hypnosis video and thought, well, yeah, I'll perhaps binge after this, but I just want to listen to this first. And 9 times out of 10, what will happen is you'll ride over the urges and you'll notice, well, actually, I don't feel that I really want to binge now. And if you look at it almost like an addiction, say a cigarette addiction, to give up cigarettes, you've got to manage those urges and you've got to have a plan to distract yourself and something to look forward to ride over those. And again, hypnosis would make it easier to give up smoking than to try and do it on your own. But that doesn't mean to say you can't do it on your own, because you can. And there's tons and tons of free videos on my website that can help you, and also other stuff on my webpage and my YouTube channel. So please subscribe and have a look through, and all the luck in the world to overcome this. I've done it, and I've helped hundreds of others to overcome it, to master strategies of what naturally lean, healthy, happy people do, and leave the binge eating in the past where it belongs. Bye now.